So if you watched my last video, I bought a 2021 SRT Hellcat Durango a few days ago. And I don't normally like doing videos like this one specifically, but if I'm going to give the good, I got to give the bad. I got to be transparent, and I've got to be open and honest with my videos. I do a lot of business with this dealership, but I'm not going to name any names specifically. But you know, if every video that I make where I'm buying a car, I'm hyping this dealership up and giving free publicity and talking about how great my experience is, I would be a liar or a hypocrite if I didn't turn around and give the truthful and honest description of my experience when I had a bad experience. And this was an absolutely abysmal experience buying this SRT Hellcat Durango. I have to start with saying part of my experience, being as miserable as it was that I was sick. I was recovering from pneumonia. I'm still recovering from pneumonia. I'm still not 100%. And I actually made that clear to the dealership when we were talking about taking delivery of the car. My wife had already been into the dealership to let them know that I was sick with pneumonia and that I was still recovering from pneumonia. And, you know, we didn't even know when the car was coming in. We were told February to begin with. You know, we were expecting the car to come in sometime the first week of February. So needless to say, you know, I'm laid up on the couch. I get a phone call out of nowhere. Hey, your car's going to be here in an hour. Well, I'm not exactly in a position to rush over to the dealership. I'm laid up, you know, recovering from pneumonia. I can barely take a deep breath, much less, you know, come over and sit for a few hours and sign paperwork and do all the stuff that comes with buying a car. Well, let's start at the beginning. About a month ago, I was on the website like I always am, and a Destroyer Gray 21 SRT Hellcat Durango popped up. And after I sold my first one, I wanted another one. I wanted another opportunity to buy one. So when that one popped up, I jumped on it. As soon as it came available, my wife went over to the Dodge dealership and we put a deposit down immediately. And my deposit basically reserved the car for me so no one else could buy it. So after we placed the deposit, a few weeks pass and we get a phone call. The sales team here wants to get an approval done because someone else wants to buy that Durango. And I get it. Like, you know, you want to make sure that your approval is done to make sure the bank is going to get your financing taken care of, because if they don't, you know, the next person in line wants to be able to secure that vehicle. The dealership had somebody on the line with a check in hand ready to pay, you know, outright for the Durango. But the trick is, I already had a deposit down. And whether the dealership gets paid from a bank or they get paid from the person themselves, I already have the deposit down. It's my vehicle. You can't just sell it to someone else. At this point, they want to make sure that our financing is secured, to make sure that, you know, we have a deal done, so that if they don't, they can move on to the next person who has a check in hand. So at this point in the process, I'm neck deep in pneumonia. Like, I'm very sick. This is the very early stages of me getting sick. I'm literally, you know, in bed, sweating, fever. I'm not in a position to want to worry about bank stuff, worry about a car or any of that stuff. But I know that if I don't get this process done, they're going to sell my car to someone else, whether I have a deposit down or not. So I made it known, hey, I have pneumonia. I would rather do this when I'm feeling better, but if it has to be done today, we'll get it done today. I go through, fill out the credit application. My wife does the same, and a couple hours pass and I get a notification from my sales rep that financing was approved. But the deal was done. Like, there was nothing else to worry about till the car gets here. The deposit is placed, the car is mine, a bank has been selected, and they have approved the financing. So there's no reason whatsoever for this car to be dangled as a piece of bait or anything whatsoever. Now, the thing that I didn't think about at the time, this was a few weeks ago, was what's the dealership going to give me in trade credit for the SRT Durango? I will accept my part of the misunderstanding that we had at this point, because I didn't ask. I did not ask how much they were going to give me in trade credit for the SRT Durango. I still had it in the back of my mind that I had, you know, a month to get the Durango sold. I could try to sell it on my own as soon as I was done recovering from pneumonia. 3 months ago, I was chasing a TRX, and they offered me $68,500 for the SRT Durango. And I assumed, and again, this is my part of the responsibility for a misunderstanding, I assumed that they were going to give me the same towards the Hellcat Durango. 3 months later, the car market has not changed to where the car has depreciated. If anything, the car market is tighter than it was 3 months ago. And so, several weeks pass. I'm not getting any better from the pneumonia. I spent 2 weeks in bed. My wife goes to the dealership to let them know that a rock chipped the SRT Durango's windshield. If we needed to trade it in, we were going to have to get that taken care of. And of course, we'll be responsible for that. But I still had it in my mind that I wanted to try to at least get some offers, field some offers on the SRT Durango before we went to sell it. I just needed the opportunity to recover a little bit and get out of the house, because at this point, I'm either laying on the couch in my office at my shop, or I'm laying in bed at home, and I'm not out doing much of anything. So my wife goes to the dealership and she lets them know about the chip of the windshield. Hey, if the car comes in before we get it fixed, we will still have it repaired. But also, Coy's in bed with pneumonia, and he's been sick for a couple of weeks now. So the dealership was aware that I was very sick with pneumonia. So this past Friday, I'm at work. I'd already told my sales rep, hey, if whenever the car comes in, give me a call while it's still on the truck. I'm only 5 minutes from the dealership. I'll run over and get some footage of it coming off the truck. This was before I got sick. This is anytime I ever buy a car that's that's coming in, that's going to be delivered. This is just one of those things that my sales rep and I, we kind of just have that understanding. They know that I have the YouTube channel. They know that I want to get the footage. Friday, I'm at work. I'm laid up on the couch. I feel like garbage. I'm getting better, but I'm still not 100%. I can't take a full deep breath. I'm tired. I'm just lethargic. I'm 2.5 weeks into this pneumonia thing, and it's kicking my butt for sure. My phone rings, and I look at my phone, and it's my sales rep. I recognize his name right away, and he's like, hey, your car's going to be here in an hour. It's like, well, it's today's I think it was the 14th, and we were talking first week of February. And they knew that I was sick. They knew I had pneumonia. They knew I wanted to take delivery later because I needed to recover from pneumonia. I'm sick, but I guess I'll get up and get over there because I want to get the footage. When I left my shop that day, I went to get the footage. I didn't know everything that was about to transpire. I go to the dealership. I missed the Durango coming off the truck by just a few minutes, but luckily my sales rep got some footage, and as soon as I get there, he takes me into the bay where they're cleaning the car up and doing the inspection and getting it ready for sale. So I get some footage of that, and we're talking, and I'm walking around. I feel like trash. I just want to go back to my office and lay back down. But they start talking about signing paperwork, and I'm like, we're doing this today? Like, really? Are we doing this today? Everyone knows that I'm sick. I have pneumonia. But we're doing this today. So I go sit down. I'm assuming I don't have a choice at this point. I go sit down, and I asked my sales rep, I said, well, what are they going to give me in trade credit for the SRT Durango? Because at this point, this is when I realized that I hadn't even asked that question yet. And he goes, I'm not sure. Let me go ask. So he comes back with my deal paperwork, and they're only offering me $65,000 for the Durango. Now that's $3,500 less than they offered me 3 months ago when I was going to buy a T-Rex. And I wasn't happy with that number. Now, again, I should have asked this question weeks ago, and I didn't, and this is part of my responsibility. $65,000 seems awfully low, especially considering I knew that the dealership had just sold a 21 SRT Durango that came in the week prior, and it was only on the lot a day at most, maybe a couple of days at most. And it sold for $74,000, and they're offering me $65,000 for mine, knowing that in today's car market, the used car prices sometimes will exceed MSRP. I know that they can make more off this car than what they're offering, and I get it. I'm in the business of buying, selling, trading, and stuff like that too. I'm in the business of making a profit. I get that the dealership needs to make a profit. They need to hit a certain number to make it worth their while. But at 65, when they had already offered me $3,500 more, it seemed like I wasn't happy with the number. So I told my sales rep, I was like, I'm not really happy with that number. We need to try to negotiate a little bit, get that number a little bit higher. and then, you know, we'll go ahead and get this done. Even though I'm not in the mood, I'm sick, physically tired, we'll go ahead and get it done. So my sales rep goes back into the office with all the managers and all the suits, as I like to call them. He comes back out, and this is really what drug this experience for me. This is at this point, what I was told is really what killed this experience for me, and I'm still mad about it, and it's been 5 days now. So after telling them that I wanted a little bit more for the Durango, especially considering what they had offered me 3 months prior, he comes back out, and I'm told, and this is at no fault of my sales rep. I love my sales rep. I will go to bat for him any day of the week. This is not an indictment on him at all. But the suits in the sales room, he comes back out and says, the number 65, if you don't want the Durango, they'll sell it to someone else. I could feel my temperature rising. I could just, my skin got hot. Okay, so if you're unfamiliar with me or my channel, I go to this dealership every few months and buy a car. I'm a junkie when it comes to vehicles. Every video that I do regarding this dealership, I rave about how much I love dealing with the dealership. I rave about how fair and honest and customer friendly this dealership is. So regardless of what number we agree to or don't agree to when it comes to trade credit, to be told that I can either take the car or they'll sell it to someone else after I put a deposit down and had an approval from the bank, it really, really pissed me off. Like, really, really pissed me off. Now, I'm not walking away from the deal because this is a Hellcat Durango we're talking about. They know what they have, and I know what they have. I have no leverage here other than being a pissed off customer. But that doesn't matter. They have someone waiting with a check that will pay full price for the car. So I'm not backing out of the deal. But how they move forward with the deal will determine whether or not I ever do business with this dealership again. And that's a decision that they have to decide if they want to watch me walk away or not. Now, I'm not one to throw my weight around. I'm not one to be negative. But also, I'm not one to be pushed over. And I'm all about loyalty. If one of my customers comes to me every 2 or 3 months and drops a bunch of money on a cell phone or on a gaming console or anything, I'm going to look out for that customer every time they come in my shop. If my customer's unsatisfied, I'm going to make sure that they're taken care of and that they're satisfied. I really didn't like being told that. And so I told my sales rep, well, I'm going to go shop the Durango around and I'll get back to you. But those words kept haunting me. Are they really just going to sell my car from under me after I've got an approval from a bank and a deposit down on this car? Are they just going to up and just sell my car to someone else? So I'm hot at this point, and I don't want to cause a scene. The dealership is packed with other people. So I told my wife, I said, let's go get something to eat. And we'll go to CarMax across the street and see what CarMax will offer. Now, there is literally a CarMax dealership across the street from the Dodge dealership. So we go down to the CarMax dealership and I walk in and make an appointment for an appraisal. They don't have anyone available at the moment. We go get something to eat at a Japanese restaurant in the area. CarMax calls me while we're eating and says the appraisal process will take about 45 minutes. But my wife is absolutely in love with this Durango. And she's starting to worry, what if they sell the car to someone else? It's not going to be a hard sell. If I don't buy this car today, somebody else will. And she's worried that they'll sell it to someone else. So she gets on the phone with my sales rep and she asks point blank, are they going to just sell the car out from under us? And we were told, no, they won't just sell the car from under us. That, you know, it's our car, but we need to get the deal done. So, okay. I told my wife, I looked at my wife, I said, listen, we owe 68 on this Durango. If you want to take the 65 for this Durango, I'm not going to tell you no. But you need to understand that we're basically eating $3,000, and I reject it on principle if it were for me. But this is for her. This is something that I was doing for her. We're not going to get another opportunity to buy a Hellcat Durango. This is going to be the last chance we have to buy a Hellcat Durango. Do you want to take what they're offering. And she didn't want to lose the car. So I said, all right, let's go back to the dealership. I'll go back in. I'll talk to our financial rep that works at Dodge, and I'll let her know what's going on. So we get back to the dealership. I'll go talk to the financial rep and my sales rep, and we'll figure a way to get the deal done. So I go back in, and I sit down at the desk with my financial rep that works at Dodge, and I explained to her how I felt. They offered me this much money 2 months ago, 3 months ago, whatever it was. Now they're offering me significantly less, and I don't like the way I'm being handled when they tell me, well, we'll just sell the car to someone else if you don't want it. Never once said I didn't want the car. I just wanted more value out of the car that I was trading. And I know that I could get more value for that car if I had more time. If I had the 2 weeks that I was expecting, first week of February, I could get more, significantly more than what the dealership was offered. But now I'm being rushed in a deal. I don't have any leverage. I feel like I'm being pushed, and I just don't like it. So I told my financial rep, I said, I'll do the deal that they're offering, but I will never come back to this dealership again. And I think it dawned on them at that point how serious I was. And they called the GM over, the general manager. I don't know his name. I don't care to know his name. I have a problem with authority figures. I like to deal with my sales rep and my financial rep. I don't want to hear from the sales manager. I don't want to hear from the dealership manager. They can stay in their office and do whatever they do. They can crunch their numbers. They can push their buttons. I don't care. I want to deal with my sales rep, and that's it. But they called the general manager over, and I told him point blank, I bought a T-Rex last year from this dealership. I bought a Hellcat Durango last year from this dealership. I bought my mom a Jeep Cherokee from this dealership. I bought a Hellcat Charger last year from this dealership. There's no telling what I'm going to buy this year from this dealership. I'm not trying to throw my weight around. I'm asking for loyalty. Instead of being told, hey, you know, the market has changed. We can't give you but this. We can't give you but this for this car. You know, I was told if I didn't want the car, they would just sell it to someone else. I didn't like that at all. It pissed me off, quite frankly. I'll take the deal as they offered it, but I will never come back to this dealership again, and I hold grudges. And I was told by the general manager, well, that's just no way to live. Oh, well, it's not really a way to live, but also I don't like being told after all the loyalty that I've shown this dealership and how much publicity I give this dealership that I don't get paid for. They don't cut me a check. They don't cut me a discount for saying, oh, how much I love this dealership. To be told that they'll just sell my car to someone else if I don't want it, that's a slap in my face. It really, really irritated me. They didn't offer to meet me in the middle. They didn't offer to bump my credit this much, or hey, we'll make it up to you some other way. We'll throw in a warranty. Like, there's no middle ground. They just flat out tell me, we'll just sell your car to someone else. Really irritated me. So the general manager goes, well, if you want us to meet you in the middle, we'll meet you in the middle. That ain't a problem. And that's all I cared about. I didn't get what I wanted for the car. Okay, fine. But to be told, again, we'll just sell the car to someone else, it's a slap in my face. So the general manager tells me that they'll meet me in the middle. So they go up to 66.5 on the Durango. Payoff is 68. So basically I'm going to eat on $1,500. Okay, it's my decision. I'll trade the car in 8 months after I bought it. So I don't have to deal with the general manager anymore. I don't have to deal with the sales manager anymore. Come to find out, after the deal was done and they put my car up for sale, they really were only selling it for a few $1,000s more than what they're paying me for it. So at least in that perspective, the general manager was right. You know, the car market dictates what the car sells for. They're not selling it for much more than what they gave me for. And for that, and for him, I applaud the way he handled it in the end. Again, this just goes back to the fact that I felt like I was rushed into the deal because I wasn't ready to take delivery, because I was sick. And to be told that, you know, if you don't want your car, we'll sell it to someone else. You know, we're talking the car coming in 2 weeks early. I have pneumonia. I don't want to be there. I'm having to sit there for hours. Like, I don't know if you've ever had pneumonia before, but it's miserable. You can't take a full deep breath. Your head is pounding. I have a fever. Like, I'm terrified of catching COVID. I'm out in public. I should not be out in public. Like, I'm terrified of catching COVID while I'm still recovering from pneumonia. And I shouldn't have even been there. Just because the car is on the lot don't mean it has to be sold. The deal is done. You already have the approval. You already have my deposit. I shouldn't be rushed into doing the paperwork just to get the deal done when the deal's basically already done. I should have been able to come down at my own leisure and sign the documents and buy the car. I shouldn't have been rushed. I shouldn't have been told that if you don't want it, then someone else will take it. You know, that's just my opinion. In the end, will I go back to the dealership? Absolutely. You know, would I have stuck to my guns and not bought another car from this dealership? You're absolutely right. I absolutely would have never went back. I do have a jailbreak Challenger on order. I would have taken delivery of that when it comes in, but there wouldn't have been any future deals. The general manager did step in, and he did the right thing, in my opinion, and I applaud him for that. But I'm just being honest with my video. Overall, this experience soured me quite a bit. When I go into a dealership, I want to deal with my sales rep, and I want to deal with my financial rep. I don't want to deal with anyone else. I have a real problem with authority. I have a real problem with the suits and corporate behavior. I have a real problem with that stuff. I don't want to deal with those folks. I want to deal with my sales rep, and I want to deal with my financial rep, and that's it. I also don't want to be told, you'll sell my car to someone else, especially after all the business I give this dealership. They don't give me a discount. I don't get a YouTube rebate. I don't get any extra rebates. I paid MSRP for the T-Rex. I paid MSRP for the Hellcat Durango. I paid full asking price for my mom's Cherokee, and I paid above MSRP for my Charger because it was pre-owned and it's a limited edition one, and I paid, I think it was like $4,000 more than it was originally sold for. They're not cutting me a discount on these cars, and I'm okay with that. I don't need special treatment. I just want to be treated fairly. I don't want it to seem like I'm sitting here for 20 minutes just and moaning, but you know, this was a tough one for me, and 5 days later, I'm still a little butthurt over it, but you know, I'll get over it. I'm looking forward to my jailbreak coming in. That's going to be several months off. I've already been told it's probably going to be summer. There's no reason whatsoever for you guys to sit here and tell me, well, we'll just sell it to someone else. That's as unprofessional as it comes. But it is what I would expect from a corporate suit, and I don't like dealing with corporate suits. My recommendation to anybody looking to buy a car right now, sell your car yourself if you can. It's not hard to do in today's car market. If you like this video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, make sure you hit that bell so you get notified for all the videos. I appreciate you guys watching, and y'all take it easy.